Okay, let's see if I can make that work a little better. Ah, come on, you stupid. No. Gonna be the way you today. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, there we go. See how long that thing stays up while I drive. Okay, it's the 23rd, I guess, of March. I'm headed back from San Jose, California, back to Oakland. I just did a garbage disposal install for a guy and replaced a bedroom door. And anyway, I think I touched on a few things in the pat here recently. I believe I mentioned my landlord was being a total a-hole. He's doing stupid stuff, you know. Anyway, I've consulted with an attorney and got a lot going on there. Basically, he's committed a couple of felony activities against me and also done an unlawful detainer of an area that we had an agreement that I could use. So we're looking at filing felony charges on him and filing a lawsuit. Don't know what's going to happen there. I got to meet with the attorney that's going to handle that case here pretty quick. But yesterday and the afternoon of Thursday, I got lucky and was able to finally get into my storage area, and thankfully that's done. I got all my stuff out of there. He still has a few of my things in there. So that's one of the things that's regarding him committing theft. He thinks he can do no wrong. And he's going to learn the hard way that he is doing wrong. He tries to go like nobody knows what they're talking about. But anyway, next Friday and Saturday, okay, I'm going to be doing the Holy Festival. I've done this quite a few years in the past. I always go on the day before and spend half the day getting it set up for that day's event for the Holy Festival, and then Saturday I'm there early in the morning, finish up with any of the other setup stuff that needs to be done that couldn't be done the day before, make sure everything's working right and so on. And then I'm just there helping out in any way needed, and it's pretty much a fun day for me. The worst part is doing the cleanup after the event because it's a big mess. I am going to see if I can get some live video feed for you guys of that on Saturday. So let's see what happens. One of my friends messaged me earlier today through Facebook Messenger, and I haven't had a chance to message them back because I've been busy all day. So to them I'm saying, hey, now, sorry I haven't had a chance to message you back. Things have definitely been pretty crazy. Finance wise, money's pretty doggone tight, and I'm doing any work I can right now. I was supposed to be doing a bunch of furniture deliveries, but the guy that I was supposed to be doing the work for, he's acting like he wants me to do it, but then he'll tell me I have a job, I have some containers coming in of furniture for you to deliver, but then when it comes time for me that I should be getting the call to go deliver it, nothing happens. And he's like, it just wasn't feasible on that one. So I've given up on that job. Screw it, I'll do whatever work I can on my own besides that. If he needs me, okay, I'll give him a little bit of work. Because I'm driving, I can't tell if anybody's messaging me or not through this, doing the live chat. So if you're messaging, put a message on there and I don't respond, I apologize. I'll try and address any comments posted in my videos. After the video, I will address you as soon as I see it. As far as my transportation goes, I think I've told y'all I had a friend give me a 1980 F350 dually. I don't remember if I got y'all a video of it or not. I've been doing some driving of it. It uses a lot of gas, especially when I'm driving on the city streets. The gear ratio on the rear end, somebody has changed it, I believe. Don't know what it's supposed to be versus what it is, so I'm gonna have to make a change on that. But unfortunately, because of my finances, I don't have the money to do that yet. It's just a step at a time. The carburetor has been rebuilt, so it does better, but really that engine needs to be rebuilt. It runs pretty rough. I'm gonna have to have new exhaust headers. The ones that are on there are rusted through in one or two spots, so I'm considering trying to basically stack weld on weld just to create a new tube for the exhaust where it's rusted through, and hopefully that'll quiet it down some. But who knows what's going to happen with that. Today has been a long day. I was supposed to go to the storage unit to reserve another storage unit or a storage place. I'm going through public storage. I've already got one storage unit. Really can't afford to have two, but the one I have is a 10 by 20 and I really need a 10 by 30 at least. But I'm making do with the 10 by 20, and then I'm getting I think it's a 10 by 15. So got to pay roughly $300 a month. Actually, I think it's about $320, $330 a month for a 10 by 15 storage unit, as well as a 10 by 20 unit. So that kind of stinks, but that's just going to have to be the way I do it for a while until I get moved. And yes, I do plan on moving for sure. I can't stand this guy that owns this property anymore, the way he's doing. The problem is with our housing, I do work some, I bring in some money, not a whole lot, but with our housing, we have to stay within the city of Oakland. The address actually has to have Oakland listed as the city for that address, which kind of stinks because that makes it harder on me to get another apartment. And you got so many people out there trying to pull scams and stuff. Looked at one apartment online, found it on Craigslist. Okay, a lot of apartment properties are doing that. And I was like, okay, cool. Found one, it's nice, it's about the size of what we're wanting. Looked pretty nice. So I went ahead and sent the link to that ad to our person that works with our housing that helps us to find an apartment. And because it was evening, late in the evening, they didn't get a chance to respond, but I went ahead and sent a text to the person who owns the property, an email or whatever. It was an email. Anyway, I never got a response to it. But the person that helped me is a lady. She emailed the same person, and within 15 minutes, she got a response. And the way the guy was talking, he has a white guy's name, and he has a very thick Nigerian accent when she spoke to him. And he was saying, hey darling, yeah. He was really condescending to her. And the way he was doing it, the way he was talking, it was clear that the ad was a scam. So, yeah, would have been nice to have that apartment, but hey, I'm not going to get it. But still looking. I think I've got one more, maybe two more today that I gotta go look at, as far as look at the ads on them, and we'll go from there. It's just a step at a time. But right now things are tight, too dang tight for us. My truck's been acting up. I went to start it yesterday, or was it Thursday, something like that. And the turn signal's been working on and off. The radio doesn't work. Wipers haven't been working. But when I went to start it, you turn the key to the start position, it wouldn't do anything. And I think the ignition switch on that thing has decided to start failing. So I went ahead and bought a new ignition switch. It was only 15 bucks. And I'll be putting that on here later today. And it'd be nice if I could, if I had the time to post a video on it, as far as showing what's involved. But on that truck, I don't know, because I've never changed the ignition switch out on it, one of those, or that year truck. So it could be same as some of the others I've had to do, or it could be totally different. Who knows? If it's like the my 95 150 I have, then yeah, it'll be real easy. I just undo 2 or 3 bolts to drop the steering wheel down, and then 2 bolts hold that in place. And I'm hoping that's how easy it is, because I really got a lot to do. I've got a lot of stuff to sort through. I'd rather have only needed the 10 by 20 and maybe a 5 by 10 at worst. But right now, I have so much stuff that I've got to go through and get rid of stuff. I don't have time to do it. And I only have a couple more days to have all that stuff off the property. Right now, it's just stored in a couple of the parking stalls at the back of the property, so no fun. But yeah, this truck here, I'm loving it, but I'm hating the gas mileage. I gotta get new tires for that thing. It needs all new tires. It's because if it's a dually, I gotta buy 6 tires for it, and they're an oddball size, so I have to order the tires and then wait for them to come in. And then when they come in, go to the tire shop and have them put on. And that creates a slight problem of they're more expensive, and I just can't afford to spend a lot of money. If it was just, one tire, okay, I could understand having to order a brand new tire and do that. But geez, 6 of them. So what I'm thinking about doing is, I've got a rear end off of a box truck that uses 16-inch rims instead of 16 and a half. I'm thinking about taking that rear end and putting it on my truck when I go to change the gear ratio, and change the gear ratio to make it work for what I need. Then I would go to a transmission shop and get the speedometer gear set and change the speedometer gearing to allow for the new gear ratio on the rear end. And that would change how much my gas mileage was, because right now it's set up for torque, not speed. So I hit 55, 58 miles an hour, and I'm running over $3,000 on the tack. So that's kind of fast. Most vehicles, you're doing 60. I mean, I'm doing 40 right now in traffic, and I'm hitting about 1,500. But then again, it could be the exhaust being so loud that makes it sound like I'm going faster than I am on the tack along with it. So I've got some research to do on that vehicle. Step at a time on it. Dang pop-ups. Okay. I hate those pop-ups on my phone. Somewhere I've downloaded an app, or Google has done an update on the Android and it does stupid stuff. If I pick up my phone and somebody's calling, half the time I have to swipe to the right before I can even see who's calling. I can hear the phone ringing, but I can't see who it is because there's a pop-up that's blocking it. And I shouldn't have to do that. I don't know if it's an app or what. So I'm looking at having to uninstall a bunch of stuff just to find out what it is. And I don't want to do that. Another problem is, like right now I'm doing a live video and something will pop up and then it'll cause the video to stop going. And because it's so bright and I can't, my reflection is in the, making it hard to see the screen, I can't tell that it had done that for a second. So, anyway, things are crazy. Trying to make things work out with everything. I don't get a chance to do too many YouTube videos. I really haven't had a chance to do any in a while other than just ranting and raving about stuff. Oh, something else. I got this, buddy of mine got a wood planer, one of the handheld wood planers, the power ones. It's a DeWalt brand. And you use it to like trim your door with or something like that. It works perfectly. Problem with his, it has a side discharge, but it's not where you can put a bag on it to catch the wood chips and the shavings. So you're just spitting dust out all over the place. And depending on which way you're having to go, it could be blowing this dust up on you. So you're getting covered in wood chips. But anyway, I've had to replace a few doors here and there like I did one today, and I've been needing one, realistically. And I've just been trying to make do with the skill saw and just trim the door like that, but the problem is you don't get a perfectly straight cut when you do that. So I noticed Ryobi had a version of the same thing for like a quarter of the price. My buddy paid $280 for his, and mine was $80. So I got the better deal. So I went ahead and bought mine. It has a discharge chute on either side, and a little thing you flip, and you can choose which side it blows out on. But it has a dust collection bag that you put on there, which is kind of cool because it works perfect, especially when you're on a wider surface. But I used that today and I love it. Mine even has a guide fence that you can put on it to help guide you straight on a surface, and his doesn't. There's a lot of stuff mine came with that his didn't. Now his, oh yeah, you can get a dust collection bag that fits it, but you have to order it from DeWalt. And it's like, hold it. I bought the tool, and you're not giving me a part that goes with the tool to be able to be used. It doesn't make sense. That's something that they should put in the bag or in the box with it. His didn't even come with a little bag to put it in, nothing. Mine did, you know. So, and a lot of people say, you're buying junk, you should be buying Milwaukee, and I'm not going to pay for a tool when all I'm buying with that tool is a name. Milwaukee. Here's one for you. Did you know Ryobi, Milwaukee, Rigid Tools, also by Home Depot, are all owned by the same company, manufactured in the same plant, and yet Rigid and Ryobi are the two better priced items. I think Rigid is a little cheaper, a little expensive. I don't remember. I think they're, but Rigid doesn't have all the tools that Ryobi does. Ryobi, I'm buying the tool, not the name. I pay 80 bucks for something and abuse the hell out of it, and it holds up better than Milwaukee did. And Milwaukee cost an arm and a leg. And then you go back and you look at it and you realize, hold it, with Milwaukee you're just paying for a name, not the tool. There's another YouTuber, he always used DeWalt, and he switched from DeWalt to Milwaukee. And one of the first tools he had bought that was Milwaukee, he bought a bunch of them at once. One of the first tools breaks on him the first time he's using it. And he went through hell in a handbasket to get Milwaukee to replace it. And when Milwaukee discovered that he was every day he posts on YouTube, when Milwaukee realized, hold it, he's a YouTuber and he's putting it out there, what happened with his tool, we need to fix this now. Then all of a sudden they're in contact with him wanting to fix it. And they did do him right on fixing it when they realized it, but it shouldn't have been like that. You're buying he just spent how many hundreds of dollars on one tool, and first time he uses it, it breaks, and he wasn't abusing it. That don't make no sense. So yeah, whenever I see somebody looking at tools and they're looking at different ones, I'll help them. I'm at Home Depot. I did that the other day. This guy and his wife, they were looking at the tools, and they were kind of looking at Ryobi, and they turned around and looked at one of the other tools that was behind them and everything. And I said, I was like, trying to decide which one to buy, huh? And they said, yeah, we just need a drill for such and such. Oh, well, you may as well get the Ryobi. Yeah, we're thinking about it, but somebody said Milwaukee's really good and they'll hold up better. I said, no, they don't. With Milwaukee, you're buying a name, not a tool. And I proceeded to explain to them that it's all the same company. They're like, oh. And I said, yeah, I am with Ryobi. There's a ton more tools than there are that you can get that work with your 18-volt batteries than Milwaukee does with their standard batteries. Now, I ain't gonna lie, yeah, Milwaukee has some nicer looking tools. They have some tools that Ryobi doesn't, but Ryobi is consistently coming out with new stuff. So I'll go with Ryobi any day on that. I remember if I had put a video out. I did this. It's a hybrid LED floodlight from Ryobi. It runs on my 18-volt batteries, or I can plug it up to an extension cord and use that to have my light that I need. And I love it. I had my 6 amp hour battery on it yesterday and ran it for like 6 hours, 7 hours nonstop on full brightness, and it didn't completely use up the battery yet. So that was definitely worthwhile. Very, very bright. So it's worth its money. Another tool I had gotten was a fan. Same setup. You can run it off the battery or the extension cord. Now, I haven't tested that to see how long the battery would last on that with a 6 amp hour battery. So that's yet to be seen. Excuse me. Yeah. So I'm always on lookout to buy stuff for Ryobi. I wish Ryobi would sponsor me with that, but because I haven't had time or the money to do anything that would be a good video and get my channel started, I can't do anything. But if people will start, getting other people to view my channel and get my views up and everything, then I can turn around and start posting realistic content. If y'all want me to do a project, I don't have a problem doing it if it's within my power. So just let me know and we'll work something out. We'll see what we can do. If it's something that, I can afford, I'll happily go get what I need and do it myself, pay for it out of pocket. But if it's something that's going to cost me, a couple $100, I'm going to have help covering the expense on that. One of the things I want to do, and I don't know when I'll be able to do it, is I want to build a bumper for my truck, for my F-150. And the one I want to build is going to be out of a 1/4-inch steel plate. I want to do a front one and a back one. 1/4-inch steel plate, maybe 5/16, something like that. I want a good heavy license plate on it, or a good heavy bumper on it, so that it holds up. That would be very, very good. Problem is, that's going to cost me several $100s. I can't afford to do it myself. I want to put a winch on there. Can't afford that. I want to do the same with the rear bumper. Take that one off. Build a custom bumper with a custom hitch on it, so that the hitch is part of the bumper, as well as attached to the frame properly. But that's going to cost me a couple $100s in materials. So if you want to see me do that, see how I would do it, and help with the expenses, please do. Please help me. And I'll go get the material, cut it, and go from there. Because I don't have much of a way of cutting it. I don't have a plasma cutter. So I have to do it with an angle grinder, or I have to pay somebody to cut it. Plasma cutters would cost me about $200 to do one that's capable of cutting that. So just see what we can do. Normally I drink water, but today I'm drinking OJ. It's healthier than soda, not as healthy as water. But yeah, step at a time and go from there. Here's what I might do. I know some of y'all might be interested in learning more about what Holi stands for in the Indian culture, things like that. If y'all want to get me to do an interview with the guy who I help out by setting all this up for the Holi Festival, let me know. I'll do an interview with him, talk to him, post questions. We'll set it up as a live event. That way there y'all can sit there and ask questions yourselves. And that would be an ideal way to do this, because you'll be able to see and understand more about it. Understand more about their culture, stuff like that. Then I would also have some video from the Holi Festival on video for you. I want to get as much as I can. To do a whole lot of video, I won't be able to post it all at once, but what I want to do is I will record some and post little sections of it here and there. That way there y'all can see what goes on. I've enjoyed it. I've done this is my 4th or 5th year now. So I'm definitely gonna enjoy this year. I don't know if I'm gonna keep doing it or not. I am slowing down on the work I used to do to bring in money, as far as fixing stuff for people at their houses, need a door or whatever. I used to do that a whole lot, but over the last year I've had to slow down because of my back, big time. My back just is giving out on me. I'm getting to where, like yesterday, I was getting all that stuff out of the storage area, and the one area you have to kind of bend down to get in there. and that took its toll on my back. Used to, it didn't bother me. Duck in, duck out, okay, that's fine. But when I'm doing it where, I put down do a laminate wood floor, I could sit there for the whole day, up and down, spending a lot of time down while putting it together and just getting up and doing a cut and then getting back down on the floor. That didn't bother me. Now I can't do it like I used to. Another thing is, I've got that spinal stimulator implant. That thing has been a major blessing. I can tell when I forget to charge up the battery and it gets too low because it shuts off on its own until I get it charged up, and then I can turn it back on. But my back really, really kills me when it dies, and it doesn't matter what I do. I have to wait until it charges up before I can get any kind of relief. They did contact me the other day, here a couple weeks ago, and they've got an updated version. One of the problems with this version is you can't have an MRI, a full body MRI. They can do an MRI of my head, that's it. If they tried to do a full body, it would cause big problems with the implant. It could malfunction, it could explode, could cause any of a variety of problems. The new version they've designed it very similar to what another company's implant version was, and theirs, they got the full body MRI compatibility in it. So Boston Scientific, who I use, they got the MRI, found out how to do the MRI compatibility and worked it in. And they're waiting on the final approval from the FDA to certify that it is MRI compatible. But the problem with the implant I have right now is it has a decent battery life, but this new one has an even better battery life. The one I have now has where you can only have a lead going up your spine or down towards your tailbone. You couldn't have both. The new one, you can have both. Okay, so that gives you better control over your pain. And that's why I'm very happy about this one, is because of the MRI compatibility and the other. The one thing that's kind of a downside is when you go through, like you have to go into a courthouse or something like that where they have a metal detector, you can't go through a metal detector because it could cause a malfunction, which would be very, very bad, depending on how bad the malfunction was. So when you're flying with that, they give you a card to let them know, and it's for other doctors to see that. They can say, oh, okay, well, he has this implant, he can't do this, he can't do that, he can't do I just can't do metal detectors. That's the key thing. So they either have to pat me down, strip search me, wand me, TSA, they could do anything, but they can't send me through the metal detectors anymore now, which that don't bother me. But at the same time, they have to do a full body scan, so they send me through that full body scanner instead of just the metal detectors. Okay, that's all good and fine. I'm not going to complain about that, but it'd be frustrating because they're more likely to pull me aside and want to strip search me. And when you're not doing anything wrong, that gets a little irritating. But at the same time, because of my back and how I'm slowing down, when I go to the airport, I just go ahead and have them reserve me a wheelchair. Okay? And what that does is, it means I don't have to get stuck standing in line for an hour just to get through TSA. That pulls me further up, that pulls me through faster. Okay? And that's one of the blessings of this, but that's the only blessing. I still would have to go through, if I didn't have the implant, I would still have to go through the metal detector. So things have changed some because of it. Some of it's better, some of it's worse. This implant, we have put in with my doctor. He's putting me in to discuss see about getting the approval for my insurance to do the updated implant. And right now I only have the leads going up my spine, but not down towards my tailbone. Well, right in the area of the where the implant starts is where my back problem is. So yes, it does give me some pain relief, but it could give me more, they feel. I was debating on it, and I asked them, I said, well, if do you think, in your honest opinion, because of where my problem location is in my spine, do you think that the wire leads going down towards my tailbone could further help with my pain relief, my pain management through this? And he thinks about it. He says, you're right, because where yours is, that's right there at the bottom of where the wires go out of the first section of lead is going up your spine. So what we would do is we would have it where they overlapped a little bit, and that would give you full coverage. So that's what they're going to be doing when I do get to go in, if my insurance approves it. The wonderful thing about about the implant is it truly, unbelievably helps with the back pain. Most of the time, I don't even know it's on, because it has what they call a feel no feel mode. You feel a tingling sensation, and depending on what percentage of power capacity you put it at, depends on how strong that you feel it. You can have it so strong that it hurts, or you can have it where I've got it now. I keep it on fairly low, only 11% of capacity roughly, and that's all I need. And I don't even know it's running. It's so seamless, and it operates at an ultra high frequency. But it's nice, because if it's really bothering me, if back's really bothering me, I can turn it way up. I've had it up to like 30% before I even started to feel it. And that's in the no feel mode. And that's just because it can only get so high at that frequency before you actually start to, it can't be to the point where it's not felt anymore. So that's a nice thing, nice little touch there. And geez, I went 85 miles today. But anyway, that's a bonus for it. Now, if my back's really bothering me, I've turned it up and that ain't helping, then I put it in the feel mode and just keep it down to where I just feel the tingling, but not heavy, and do that for a couple hours, and then put it back into no feel mode, and I feel worlds better. But I've discovered even that doesn't help me sometimes for certain things. Yes, I still feel pain. It's never going to stop. There's not going to be a cure other than the day I die, which that's kind of sad to say it like that, but that's the way it's going to be. It's what happens when you got nerve damage. But that's why I've got 4 screws and a steel plate in my back, is because my doctor he knew there was some damage had happened inside for my nerves, but he doesn't know the full extent of it, and it's so hard to see the full extent of it. But he could do a CT with contrast, and he'll be able to see the full extent of the nerve damage, or see it better. It wouldn't be a really good view of it, but it'd be enough that he could see what was going on. I live in pain all the way down from my just above my waist all the way down to my legs. I've actually had loss of feeling a few times where my back shifted wrong and I couldn't feel anything for a while. One of the times when that was going on, I stepped on a nail and didn't even know it. And that's when I realized how serious my back had gotten. One day, and it was weird. The heavy stuff, you know, I'd go and pick up an 80-pound sack of concrete and carry it around like it was nothing. But something as trivial as picking up a pencil and moving just right at the same time I'm doing that, and my back would go out. I don't know what the deal was. So that's why I've got the 4 screws and steel plate in my back, is so that it keeps everything in alignment and everything. And since there's no disc there, you know, that's why they had to do it the way they did. The combination was a condition called spondylolisthesis, and in the same location I had degenerative disc disease. Now, I know some of you guys have never heard about this or aren't aware of this. If somebody has degenerative disc disease in one location in their spine, the doctor can do a artificial disc, put an artificial disc in there, and that will stop a lot of the problems if it's caught early on before it gets too bad. Once it gets to a certain point, it ain't gonna really help much. It'll stop it from getting worse, that's it. But the problem is, if you've had one problem with degenerative disc disease in one location, there's a good chance it's going to come up in another location, a very good chance. And it'll just be one of those things that you have to live with the rest of the life. So I'm not going to get mad about it. I'm just going to say, okay, fine. You know, life's a bee. You just have to live with it. And I'm of the opinion, I was trying to get on disability, and now I'm like, do I really want to deal with disability right now, or do I want to keep working? I would rather work as long as I can. Yeah, disability is nice, because then I could just do what I wanted, you know, as far as work up to a certain point. And if I couldn't work, okay, well, I've still got some kind of income. But because I haven't put in enough to get full disability benefits, I can only get SSI disability, and you only get like $750 a month to live off of, which is nowhere near enough. And then they restrict you on how much money you can have coming in to live off of. And this doesn't make sense, and y'all probably agree with me on the disability thing, on the SSI disability. You can be born with something horrific where you can't work ever, and you turn 18, you apply for disability and get it. It's only SSI disability because you didn't work enough to put in to get full disability. And it's like, hold it. That doesn't make sense. They're disabled to the point where they cannot work at all ever again and have never been able to work. And you're saying because they couldn't work, they can't get full disability. That's what the government says. Me, I'm going to keep trying to work as long as I can. If I get lucky enough to, okay, cool. If I don't, oh well. But if I can work another 2 or 3 years at least, I'm happy. If I can't, well, it sucks. I just can't stand sitting around. That's not my style. When I had my first back surgery and they put this screws and plate in my back, they wanted me to sit down for 3 months and do nothing. And I did that for, I made it about a month and a half, roughly. And I was going crazy. I was hurting worse than I'd ever hurt. I couldn't even think straight. I was like, oh God, I gotta get up and start moving. And I got up and I just started doing whatever I could to keep moving and be able to work, and at least bring in a few dollars. And one of my neighbors, he's a quadriplegic that I had back then, and he couldn't drive himself anywhere, so he depended on other people to drive him places. So what did I do? I was driving him around. He has a dealer's license, and he uses that dealer's license to go buy cars from like Copart and stuff like that. And then he would take the car that he bought. Sometimes the insurance, sometimes it's just a family. Somebody in the family passed away, and the kids inherited the car from the dad or mom or whatever. And then they didn't want it, so they just put it up for auction to be sold, just get rid of it. So sometimes that's how it was. He had one car that's right after my surgery, he got it. He got a really good deal on it. Nice Honda Civic, I think it was. Honda Civic or Honda Accord. Anyway, it had virtually nothing wrong with it other than the driver of the car that had owned it had hydroplaned in the rain and went backwards over something, and it messed up the plastic bumper on the back end, and it messed up where the spare tire goes, the spare tire well. And that's all that was wrong with the car. Nothing else. And the insurance put it down as a total loss, which didn't make no sense. So my buddy, he got the car for a couple $100, turned around. We went to a place that sells parts for cars like that and bought a brand new one. Put it on real quick. I didn't get to put it on because of my back, but I had to lay on the ground and I couldn't do that yet. So he just took it to his friend's body shop. They threw it on for a little bit and painted it to match the car, and good to go. He brings it home. I grabbed my sledgehammer and went out there, opened the trunk, and just took the handle and on in with the hammer. I just knocked that spare tire well back down to where it should be. Some fine work with the sledgehammer, and I had it pretty much back into its original shape. And he was good to go. And he turned around and sold that car for $5,000 because there was nothing wrong with it. It just been a total a salvage. And I don't understand where these insurance companies get their prices for doing a salvage, turning a car into a salvage title, but they say, okay, well, it can't be over so much percentage of the value of that vehicle. Okay, that's cool. But you've got this car that runs great, looks great, and the only problem with it is a plastic bumper that's $100, $150, and the paint costs the paint, and a sledgehammer to knock the spare tire well down. What the heck? So, my buddy spent he didn't even spend $1,000 on that car, including the cost of buying it, and he sold it for $5,000. He made a $4,000 profit right off the bat. So he really came out ahead. Anyway, yeah, it's amazing. I love this van I'm driving. I got it from a guy that I was doing work for a while. I still try to do work for him. He's actually the one who I'm doing the work for to set up the Holy Festival. And I got it from him. And it needs one or two sensors replaced, but I'm not going to complain about that because it does feel good on power. It gets up and goes. It just needs one sensor replaced. I think it needs the airbag computer replaced or reset. I'm not sure, because the airbag light stays on all the time. But beyond that, shoot, for an 06 Mazda MPV with less than it has 114,000 miles on it, that's pretty doggone good. The guy always took care of it. His wife drove it. Check engine light come on, he would go straight to the shop and find out what was wrong with it and get it fixed. Now, I've gotten it. There's been the check engine light was coming on. He was just debating on whether to fix it or let it go. And it's just a simple sensor. Now, it's not going to kill the engine if that sensor goes bad, which it's already gone bad, but it's not completely bad, it still works. It just doesn't shift right, is the only problem. You'll be cruising along and you'll be picking up speed like you're getting on the freeway. You'll be picking up speed at a fair rate, and all of a sudden it'll go from third down to second for a second or two, and then come back up to third. So, nothing killer. I just gotta get the sensor and the time to put it in. And that'll take me about a day to put it in. But that's one of those things, gotta make do with what you got. But anyway, yeah, it's been a good van. I love it. Kind of wish I had a trailer hitch on it, because it's strong enough to pull a small trailer. But that's not what it's intended for now. It's supposed to be just to get around, and because I can't drive the truck, I don't want to drive the truck all the way out like I did today. Good 100 miles, 95.1 right now. So from where I live to where I was at and back is roughly 100 miles. And I've still got over 5/8 of a tank. I've got almost 3/4 of a tank. And it cost me $41 to fill up from a quarter tank. That's one thing a lot of people don't realize about me. I don't let my gas gauge on any of my vehicles get below a quarter tank. There's multiple reasons for that. One of them is on a lot of the modern cars that you have now, from even back as far as into the 80s, they use an electric fuel pump in the tank. It's submerged in your gas. And the problem is they depend on your gas to cool them. So if you're letting your tank get below a quarter tank, they're not fully submerged in your gasoline, and they start getting hot, and it wears them out faster. A friend of mine was a mechanic, and every couple of months he would have to do a new fuel pump in their car, because the fuel pump would go out. And he realized what was going on, and he told her, he says, don't let it get below a quarter tank again. If you do, I'm taking your car and getting rid of it. I'm not going to keep replacing the fuel pump every couple of months. And he got her to stop doing that. And he stopped having to replace the fuel pump. And so because of that, I don't like to. Plus, it has, they call it a fuel sock. It's a screen of sorts that goes over your fuel pump. And it catches any of the larger particles of debris that's in your gas and filters it out. But when you let your gas get below a quarter tank, it tends to clog that screen up. And then you run into issues. That messes up your fuel pump and can mess up your engine. So that kind of stinks. So that's one of the things I'm very picky about. If it's an older model vehicle that doesn't have that fuel sock on it, then there is no filter until it gets to your fuel filter by your carburetor, and then it clogs that up. and it's going to clog it up anyway if there's debris. But the idiot in the Dodge. I go to pass this guy because he's going slow, and what does he do? He gets on it and takes off like a bat out of hell. One of my neighbors was blocking the driveway with their car. Anyway, yeah, on the older cars, yes, your fuel filter is going to catch a lot of the debris, but if it's just got the fuel filter built into the carburetor on it, then it's going to mess up. It's going to get through that fuel filter. And if you got more fuel in your tank, you aren't going to be as prone to picking up more of the garbage that could get past that. So that's one of the issues there. So that's another reason why I don't let it get below a quarter tank. It's just not a good thing to do. Plus, what if something happens and you get in your car and it's an emergency, you have to get somewhere, and you don't have time to stop and go get gas? What's going to happen? You're going to run out of gas because you're already sitting on empty. You got a quarter tank, there's a fair chance that you're going to make it to where you're going, to where you can get gas. So that's the way I feel about that. I remember as a kid, my mom used to perpetually run the car sitting on empty. I mean, one time we ran out of gas right around the corner from the house. I mean, we didn't even make it 2 blocks. And I don't know where my dad was. I think he was at work or something. So what I have to do, I had to walk back to the house, grab my gas can for our lawnmower, and it only held a gallon of gas, but it was only half full. So I dumped a half gallon of gas into the tank, and we got the car started again, and ran down to the corner store and got gas. Another time I was in Houston, and I was living away from my parents, about 45 minutes away. Anyway, it was stupidity, because I called her. I needed her to come get me, and she leaves the house, realizes the van's sitting on empty. Now, this is a 77 Chevy van with 350 in it, and it uses a fair amount of gas. And she proceeded to drive all the way through into downtown Houston to pick me up with it sitting on empty, because she didn't want to stop and get gas on the way to pick me up. She wanted me to pump. We didn't make it back up to the gas station that she was going to stop at before we ran out of gas. And I had to, we were on the freeway when it started sputtering, so I told her to put it in neutral, shut the key off. We coasted to the off-ramp, got out to the access road, and just kind of coasted. And then I got out when it slowed down real slow and just started pushing until I got it down got it around the corner, and we got it out of the road. And then we had to walk 1.5 miles to go get gas. And all we had was a couple of 20-ounce soda bottles, which was kind of funny. So we went and did that, got 2 soda bottles of gas, dumped it in the tank, got the van started again, and ran back the direction we had just come from and got gas. And we only got a couple of gallons, enough to know we had enough to make it to the gas station that we wanted to go to, and that was it. And she knew I was mad. But the words out of her mouth was, well, I thought I had enough gas to make it there and back. Let's see. It's on empty when you get in, and you're going to drive 45 miles each way roughly before you get gas. Are you really thinking correctly? So it was kind of funny. But anyway, she does better now. She doesn't let it get that low. But that's how it goes. Anyway, I guess I'm going to end this video because I am now at home and I am tired. I want to eat some lunch and maybe take a nap. We'll see. But anyway, please comment, like, and subscribe, and have a wonderful weekend. And if you have any projects you'd like to see me do something of, let me know and we'll see what we can do. Catch you later.